There is no object show more unique than one. I consider it to be the greatest object show ever from a storytelling standpoint. I mean, halfway through, it doesn't even focus on the actual competition. Rather, it focuses on an eliminated contestant trying to free the other contestants from what can only be described as limbo. A strange subworld where you can't die and are at the mercy of a single man seems like a textbook definition of what hell is like. And this show goes as far as to give some of the characters actual names, which just makes it seem all that more real while still being completely fictional, as all object shows are. I was able to connect with these characters more than I could in any other object show. Knowing that they all disappeared from their worlds without a trace just makes it worse. They had families and friends that just had no idea where they went. Liam was even presumed dead in his city because he had disappeared for so long. You can really tell that these characters had a real connection with each other. Usually, object shows make me happy and excited. This one just made me sad. It piles on multiple things that people actually go through, dealing with loss, trying to save others no matter what it takes, and it shows how drastically different people see things. Ari just saw what he was doing as a way to cope with his loneliness after losing everything. Liam saw it as sadistic, keeping people trapped for his own benefit. You mostly side with Liam, but at the same time, you can feel a little bit of pity for Ari. He lost everything, but found a way to handle it, even though it was at the expense of others. Object shows usually have no real story, but this one does. The occasional piece of backstory that we get is amazing, especially when we get to Ares. Episode 18, titled Self Titled, is quite possibly the saddest and greatest end to an object show. It shows how desperate someone can really get while trying to save those they really care about. It also shows that someone, Ari, can be a really bad person but still care, such as him carrying Liam home after he broke his leg again. Aries' end is also one of the saddest things I've seen in an object show. He was planning on taking more people, but at the same time, he was trying to sustain Liam after Liam tried to kill him. And I think the comments sum this episode up the best. These comments will be read by Odyssey 10. Be sure to check out his channel.
As unsatisfying as one's ending is, I actually find it to be quite fitting slash ironic. From the start of the season, Liam's sole intention was to put an end to one once and for all. And while he did achieve that, he also prevented himself and the rest of the characters from ever returning back to the real world again. You could argue that it was all worth it in the end, as Liam's sacrifice would prevent anyone else from being hurt by Ari ever again. Theoretically, Liam could figure out a way to send the remaining contestants back to their normal lives using the code that Ari created, but there's no way out for himself now that the notes are gone. I think all the contestants being trapped on the plane after Ari dies is meant to represent an object show being cancelled. Object shows get cancelled very often, and when that happens, all of the characters in the show are just left in limbo, no matter how intriguing they are. Cancellation could be caused by many things, such as something happening that stops the creator from working on the show, like what happened to Ari. Overall, I think this was a good finale for falling in line with what the rest of the show was trying to do, so kudos to the One Crew for pulling it off.
This show is right up there with Shakespeare. In simple terms, a tragedy. This show may be the only one to end in such a dark note, but in the end, it sort of makes you think. I could see this last episode just being a cliffhanger. There is more that could be done with from where we left off, but I don't think the creators wanted it to continue. This is just what they wanted, a dark end to what is quite possibly the greatest story in object show history.